So Tarik Skubal wins his arbitration case, $32 million. And this is the thing that frustrates me about baseball fans. They cry foul about the Dodgers and their ability to sign players to basically whatever contract they want. And I can understand, again, why someone would feel like that is unfair. Of course, I have common sense. However, instances like this with Tarik Skubal and the Detroit Tigers is why I have very little sympathy for anybody that cries about this, because their owners could easily step in and just operate differently to prevent these exact situations. So the Detroit Tigers are owned by the Ilitch family, and they have a net worth estimated between 3.8 and 6.9 billion dollars, and their fortune stems from founding Little Caesars Pizza in 1959. So again, I'm not going to make an argument that the owners of Little Caesars Pizza can have the same level of wealth as a conglomerate of people like the Guggenheim Group partnership is. But what I am saying is that they could easily pay Tarik Skubal the richest contract in baseball history, and they would be fine, right? And the reason why people hate the Dodgers is that we've now built like this system that kind of feeds itself because we're the most dominant team and we're willing to go a little bit above market to sign the players. Players are coming to us, right? But if their incumbent teams would just sign them to larger money, it would prevent that. And I think my frustration is with the salary cap, you would effectively be allowing the owners to spend like that minimum amount of money to keep that star player and suppress the star player's earning versus making them pay whatever the market would say it is today, because that's what they're owed. That's what they're due. That's what they are worth according to the market. Now, again, the argument is going to be, well, technically Kyle Tucker's market was not that amount. The Dodgers blew that out and paid that amount of money. The Mets apparently were willing to match something like that, but he didn't give them the opportunity to. And that's where, again, the Dodgers win because they run their team and organization well. We are the two-time defending champions, so they're going to want to join what feels like a sure thing, although, again, there's no sure thing in baseball. But back to the point at hand, the Tigers could have done so many things to keep Tarik Skubal, such as maybe not paying Framber Valdez more per year than Tarik Skubal. I don't really understand that. If you were willing to pay if you're willing to pay Framber Valdez $38 million, why would you not be willing to pay 40 for Tarik, 50 for Tarik? He is easily the best pitcher in baseball right now, way better than Framber Valdez, and yet he's going to be making $6 million less. And I know the whole thing about, well, one's a free agent, one's not. Teams have an ability to sign players to contracts that extend beyond their arbitration or whatever the case may be to lock them up. The Detroit Tigers are a team that probably should do that more with their top players because in free agency, they're not going to play in that pool. So for me, the frustration again is that the Tigers could have prevented what is coming, which is one, immediately people are saying that they have to trade him because they know he's going to walk after this year. They're not going to give him the money that he's going to want, so they're going to have to trade him. That is ridiculous. The Tigers are a good team. They can easily make a run to the World Series, but if the decision is trade Tarik Skubal now to add more assets for later, it's so ridiculous. They're going to trade him to hopefully get another player as good as him one day. And when other fan bases say, well, why is it that the Dodgers or the Yankees can continually reload and be in a position to at least compete for a World Series every year? This is where I'm saying, again, if those other teams feel like they only have once every 20-year opportunity, when you have that guy, go for it then. You got to go for it. You can't always kick the pail down the road and expect all these stars to align. And sometimes you just got to make a move and go for it. Now, when the salary cap comes in, yes, I'm sure the economics of baseball are going to become a little bit more fair across teams. But the mentality that these teams have around penny pinching and not wanting to pay what is the true fair market value for a player, that is what ultimately kills them. And I don't know how else to explain the fact that if you saw last year's World Series where it went down to Game 7, literal inches that could have had the Blue Jays beating the Dodgers, I can't tell you anything else around the competitiveness around baseball. Baseball is competitive. You do not need more externalities to make it more competitive. The Dodgers can look like they have a stacked team and still not. The NLDS is a 5-game series. We get one cold streak or a string of pitchers that can't do it or a bullpen that falls apart. It's over. The Dodgers aren't going to win every single series that they play this year. And in the postseason, they're just simply another series to play. The stakes are higher, of course, but that also means more pressure for a team like the Dodgers. So Tarik Skubal is just a perfect example, once again, of teams not doing everything that they can to make sure that they're putting themselves in the best position to be able to go for a World Series if that is in front of them. They literally were one game away from the ALCS last year, and they operate like they were just lucky to be there. They are a good team. They are a good team, and they should be playing their ace money, the best pitcher in baseball kind of money. But they choose not to. And that's why I have little sympathy, because the fans are angry at the Dodgers when they should be angry at their owner, who is not doing everything they can to put their team in a position to win. And this is a controversial opinion, I know, but making money and winning in any sport, they sometimes are mutually exclusive, unfortunately. And as a fan of the Dodgers and not even someone that has to pay for it, it's easy for me to say that not every owner necessarily should be able to make money and win. Only certain teams can do that. And so most teams owned by people who want to make money are going to make decisions to maximize revenue or profit, actually, over winning. And that's just what they're going to do. And I think this is why the salary cap conversation comes into play, because owners want to be able to make their overall income predictable. They want to know at the end of each year, our costs are going to be capped at this much. So if we do this marketing thing, or we sell this many more jerseys or this many more home season ticket packages, we know we can make it up to this amount of money and we're good. I'm not saying as a business owner you shouldn't be allowed to do that, but if this game is about winning, then sometimes those things do have to go to the wayside. You do have to make some sacrifices financially to win on the field. And I feel bad, obviously, for fan bases that are part of teams that are owned by ownership groups who don't have that kind of money or aren't willing to make that kind of investment or do want to turn a profit every year. I don't know what to tell you. Again, and the salary cap, all it does, in my opinion, is keep more money in their pocket, and it is not necessarily going to impact parity or competitiveness like it seems like people are hoping that it's going to. So for the Dodgers, I mean, this doesn't impact them at all, except maybe next year's free agency. The Dodgers are going to be front in line. I, at this point, would rather not trade any of our assets, try and go get Tarik Skubal this season, because he's going to command a huge haul. The only danger for Tarik Skubal to go to a different team is probably going to be if he gets traded to one of those big market teams, a Philadelphia, a New York. But also, the lockout is imminent. Lockout is coming, and we don't know exactly what the world is going to look like post that. So that's the one area where Tarik Skubal probably would have liked to have locked up a long-term contract, because we're not going to see those kinds of contracts, in my opinion, anymore after 2027. But if we do, he's in line for a huge contract, so it's going to be fine. But the Tarik Skubal thing, guys, it is a perfect example. It is the perfect microcosm of everything that's wrong with the current system, as far as ownership groups not operating in the best interest of winning and only acting in the best interest of their bottom line. And so they make decisions like taking Tarik Skubal to arbitration with a $13 million gap. And now even an arbitrary judge was like, I mean, this guy deserves $32 million. So now they have to pay him that. They're not happy about it. He's not happy about it. It feels like a little bit of a slap in the face that, again, Framber Valdez gets $38 million. He gets 32. So it's just, again, a perfect example of kind of what is wrong with the game of baseball. It's not the system. Ultimately, it's the owners. So it'll be interesting to see. There's going to be more news coming out, I'm sure. But Tarik Skubal wins the arbitration case, $32 million. The other thing I want to talk about, Emmanuel Clase, it looks like he has messed around and pitched. Emmanuel Clase was alleged to rig pitches in at least 48 games from 2023 to 2025. That is absolutely absurd. It is absolutely absurd. You are a pitcher in baseball. You are one of the best relief pitchers in baseball. You are going to get huge money, and you're trying to win parlays or these one-off bets for how much? However much it is, it's not worth what you're doing. And I just cannot understand that. This is why who you have in your life, the influences you have in your life, the people who help you make these kinds of decisions are so important, because the wrong people are going to lead you down a very bad path. And Emmanuel Clase, that is just epic stupidity beyond belief. The fact that you would get caught and that there are 48 instances in which they're able to notice that you're just throwing wild pitches, it is so embarrassing. And I don't feel bad for you, because it is your decision making that put you here. It wasn't a systemic thing that affected you. You made this decision yourself. You're going to have to lay in this bed now, but 48 cases, that's insane. Spring ball starts very soon. I can't wait. Let's go Dodgers.